Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I made a decision. The engine's in the back. I'm stoked where it is. Still got plenty of room in the back, and the main reason was so I could fit this bench seat right across the front. So we'll be able to carry a few passengers, and yeah, it's all working out. So let's see how I did it. Alright, so I've made some huge steps. This is pretty much all finish welded. Basically I just have to degrease it all and clean it all up tomorrow, then hopefully get it painted and then start assembling. And again, I've got to do the same thing to that, got to degrease all that, paint all that up. But as far as I can tell, most of the mock-up for the chassis is done. I've done the engine mounts. I've still got to do the transmission mount, which bolts. Just finished welding that one and put a little bracket on that, so that goes in there, which sort of ties the whole chassis together. Yeah, really happy. So it's going to take a bit of work to clean it up. I just spent probably 6 hours finishing welding up all that and grinding it and getting it to look nice. So yeah, that's cool. I've got to, oh, there's the little test fit with some big, oh, they're only 32s or something, or 33s. That's a big monster size on the slug. So now I've just got to finish welding all this stuff, get all that right, and then I'm waiting on the forged pistons to be delivered. About a week away, I think. And the plan is to get the motor back together, motor put back in there, and then slide it, probably just with the heads on, no intake or anything. Slide it back in, and get it back in that way, because I think it might be a bit hard to try and get a lift to go over there and into there once it's all in there. And of course I can't lift it without a lift, so that's the plan. Yeah, I've got 3 weeks I think to get as much done as I can. I'm still hoping to have it, if not running, very close to running. Yes, I hope you guys are sort of liking the progress. It's all looking pretty neat here. I think it's going to work pretty well. There's the lower 4-link mounts there, up ones there. Sort of brace that together. I don't know if you can see how I've done all that. Should be fairly strong, I'm thinking, and it's all braced to the body as well. So now I've got mounts up there, mounts there, mounts right at the back, and mounts here. So I've got eight body mounts on the chassis. There's the front end all out at the minute. That's had all new ball joints. Airbags, obviously, it's been painted. Yeah, should be ready to go. It should actually drive really well, this thing, I'm hoping. And it's all said and done, so yeah, excited. All right, it's painting day. So this is possibly the shittest weather ever to be painting in, but I'm on a hell of a deadline, so get stuck into it. I'm just going to paint it in the same thing I did the Mini in, just this hammer finish septone stuff. So just had to go get another fitting from Bunnings to make it all work. But I'll get a coat of paint on it, see how it goes. Alright everyone, so I'm not sure where I left off, where I'm up to, but I'm about to start modifying the steering, and I just thought I'd show you more my thought process on the whole thing. So here is the chassis, all painted, all mocked up. It's absolutely looking amazing, way too good for the Slug. So it's all painted, bags are bolted in properly, mounts are all made for the engine and that sort of thing. Just been mocking up the alternator bracket there. I'm still waiting on some pistons to be delivered from the States. Then I'm going to drop the crank, rods, pistons and everything. There's the rods there. There's the crank. There's one of the rods. Got to check the bearings and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so where I'm at is, so here's the steering setup with the steering box. I looked high and low to try and find a power steering version of this, but they're rarer than rock and roll shit. So I'm going to stick with that, and I've bought an electric steering column from a Prius, which I'm going to modify to fit, which will give me the power steering without having to modify any of that stuff. So I'll show you the current setup. Alright, so there's the existing column. I put a mark about here. That's how far it sticks out from this thing. So I've got that much room to play with. So pull that out. And lay that there. So basically this is going to replace that bit there. This is the motor. I got the controller on the way for it. So I've got to modify that, cut that and fit that in the middle of there. And although I would have loved to have hidden it a little bit more, it's just not possible. So yeah, once I sort of paint this and everything, it's going to sit basically there, which will be, like, it's not too bad. It's sort of tucked away as much as possible. Yeah, the steering wheel will be on top of that. So that's the idea. I'm going to cut the existing column now and then see about making it all work. I don't know the exact plan yet, but we'll make it happen. We'll always do. Okay, so last night I was working on the steering. I've got it mostly modified to all bolt up. However, to sort of finish it off, I've got to have the chassis underneath the body. I had planned on getting the motor all together and stuff before I put it back in, but it's just not going to happen with the time constraints I've got. So I'm going to throw the chassis back in, and then I'll figure out a way of craning the engine in once it's all together. But it means I can do all the brake lines, air lines, all that sort of stuff. So I've just mocked up the air lines here. Made sure they're out of the way of everything. Sort of made it all pretty neat there. So they all come up to this common valve body. And I've got some heat sleeve coming, which will go along there and cover all the area with the exhaust and the rear wheels in case there's a tyre fire or something, because if I blow tyres and melt the airlines at the same time, then it's just going to have to get skull dragged off. So I don't want that to happen. I'm going to try and avoid that. So the chassis is all pretty much mocked up. I went to get a leak on the tyre fixed, and I need to fix up this rim a little bit, so they didn't put the tyre back on yet, but I've got to roll it under, so I've just got the rim on there at the minute. Yeah, I'll hook the air up and just give you a look at how it's all working at the minute, and then we'll throw it under the Slug. So there you go, that's how that all works. It's there'll be plenty of ground clearance with it fully up, just for loading onto trailers and changing tyres and that sort of thing. Set up the drive shaft and the angles so that it's most right when it's sort of down just above fully aired out, which is the height I'll run it most of the time. So yeah, time to strip the top off that engine just so it'll fit underneath the bottom of it, and then get it back underneath the slug and start doing some brake lines. So it's getting there. Alright, so it's been a busy day. I got shitloads done. So I got the body put back on the chassis, the air tank fitted. I had to cut the back of the seat out there because it's the first time I'd mounted the water pump and stuff on there. So there's still plenty of clearance behind the actual seat, but I had to cut that little panel out, so I have to weld that up. I've run all the air lines, done some flooring in here. Let me see if I can change this light. There, put all those panels in for the flooring. I have run the air lines for the suspension right under the body. They all come out there, up there, and they're going to hook into this here. I've fitted my electric steering column. It took a fair bit of work to get to work. I know it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it was sort of the only option I had. So I've painted it the same colour. And look, it is what it is, but yeah, so I've got the seats mocked up in there. That's the floor. I'm going to have to sort of walk on that a bit and get a bit of age to it. And then finish this bit down here. But it's mounted back on the body. Everything's done right. Like I said, the air tank's mounted. I've got to mount the compressor there. I'm getting a weld-in ring for this fuel tank where it'll have a drop-in fuel pump, AFI fuel pump. So I'll get that sorted soon. Yeah, I got to get some brake fittings so I can get the brake master cylinder fitted in there, and I'll get the brakes done. I'm going to try and get all this stuff done, the suspension and everything right, the brakes done. All I'm waiting on these engine bits so that then I can put the engine together once that's all sorted. So still on a hell of a deadline. I'm not sure whether I'll make it, but most of the welding and fabrication is done, so that's a good thing. Got all parts here to put the engine back together. So yeah, once I get everything I need, get it back together. It's skid time.